Namaskaram.
Namaskaram.
Nice to see that we have a program on mental health. And when we talk about mental health for students, there is an age in which so a small child will not be able to understand. Maybe our syllabus in the education system also is such. Up to 7th grade, there is a teacher, parent, mentor, director. All these people will take care of the child. So the teenage onwards, probably they understand better, which in the introduction was talked about mental, mind. But in Bharatiya Shastram, we don't talk about mind and mental. I hope we are talking from India and we are more better in understanding what Indian situation people require. And better to get into the roots of the knowledge than the surface treatment. There are many reasons for somebody to behave in a fashion. It starts from pregnancy. So the child care starts from the seed level. From the seed level, the mood of the mother and father have got great influence on the basic character building. The culture and the situation around has got great influence on everybody. If a child is misbehaving, that is one major discussion when I meet teachers at different levels after COVID, as during the introduction mentioned. Actually, because every child needs after age 3 little bit of social interaction. If that social interaction is not there and they are seeing same face only within the four walls of the houses, they lose their social ability. There are two aspects for a child. They are, or all of us are, human being and social being. So without society, people cannot live. However rich you are, however cute you are, however ugly you are, however poor you are, however educated or uneducated, all of us require a society around us, and that society has got great influence. In traditionally, if you look at Bharatiya Vedas, have got 4 different styles. One is called Rigveda, Yajurveda, Samaveda. All these, when you go to, it has got a beautiful connection to the Yuga. Yuga is the time scale in the world wherein our ancestors lived. There is a Yuga called the Satya Yuga. The Satya Yuga was people were living in nature, there is no conflict, there is no confusion, everybody was happy. People don't talk about what you call the mental. I am using the word mental because that is what everybody understands. Otherwise, in Bharatiya Shastram, there is called nothing called mind. The feelings comes from the manas. Because we have to use English, we are translating into mind. It is not at all a good translation. Manas is different and buddhi is different. There is only 2 components in the Bharatiya Shastra. The buddhi and the manas. Manas is where the feeling comes from. Buddhi is where the education comes from. The conflict comes, distress happens only when there is a conflict between my buddhi and the manas. Bhagavad Gita clearly explains, Uddhared atmanatmanam atmanam avasadhayat atmaiva hyatmano bandhu atmaiva ripuratmanaha. You have to raise your manas, buddhi in the same level where the atma happens. Then you become an atmiya purusha. That is the spiritual level. So in Satya Yuga, physically people were good, emotionally people were good, intellectually people were good, socially people were good. Socially doesn't mean with only with the people in society. It also means every creed, creature, animals, plants, nature, through the environment. Now kids have been removed away from the environment. They don't even touch the ground. So therefore, unless the education system has got some touch with the nature, nobody can be happy. You may show that you are happy, but inner happiness doesn't come. Showing is different, feeling is different, being is different. So in Satya Yuga, everybody was in being state. And the next level of conflict was in Treta Yuga, where there are one Swabhavam, the basic character, which is Rakshasika, so cruel, anger, the bloody food eaters, dead body eaters, and such people who are all such people, and Sattvic people who eat Rajasic, Sattvic, Tamasic. Three characters came only in the Treta Yuga. So there is a mix of these contradictions and conflicts happens when they mix. They are staying separate, there is no problem. So the mix happened, there is a problem. And that was the conflict when Rama's period. If Sita was alone here, Ravana was somewhere else, there would have been no war. The war happened because somebody picked up a Sattvic woman and then took it to the Rajasic place. Otherwise, there is no war at all. So it is only when people mix, there is a conflict. So if I am in a situation, I am in a culture where there is no mix, there is no problem. You can understand how slowly it happened. Then what happened was Dwapara Yugam, in which you can see inside the family itself, there are conflicts. The cousin brothers are fighting. Earlier it was two region people are fighting. In the Treta Yuga, in the Dwapara Yuga, it is two family members fighting each other. In Kali Yuga, what happens in this time, what happens is internally there is a problem. Because we are seeing everything, what is happening in the Western world, we want to copy them. We want choice. And the choice, when you talk about choice of food, it is not Indian food. The generation wants only the Chinese food or Italian food or Mexican food. We have diluted. But you look at Westerners, they don't eat that well. They know what they wanted to eat. We started copying things. Copying the structure, copying the language, copying the culture, importing people, exporting things. Everything happens around and then we are in a confused state. That is why India's happiness index is too low. One reason is that. The second reason, the scale used is not what is fit for India. So what is exactly required? An attitudinal change is required along with the parents and the so-called great knowledgeable people who are guiding them should get knowledge first. Because they are also copying knowledge from the West and trying to spread it here. Reading only English knowledge, not the basic culture and the knowledge which is supposed to be Indianized. The Indological knowledge is not there. So, the directors, the mentors, the so-called trainers, we train dogs but not a human being. Repeated things are not required. Once you tell, that's good enough. The word training itself is a bad word. When skill happens, it is training. If it is not a skill, it is an attitudinal change. One word is good enough for people to understand. If you understand those people first. So understanding is more different and entirely different than listening. Hearing is entirely different. All these have to be understood very clearly. Therefore, if at all I wanted to call, it is not the manas, the nurturing the minds for not this generation. 20 years is one generation. That means 2 decades. It doesn't happen in 1 century. It happens over 10 years of time. In which 5 years people change from the childhood to youth and adolescence and the elderly. There is a holistic approach required. Physical, emotional, intellectual, social and spiritual. How do we make this? Follow a very, very systematic way of understanding the mind and the body. If at all I wanted to call it as mind. The emotion and the physic. That relationship has to be understood. Just before entering this seminar, somebody who is really suffering from asthma was consulting me. I said that when asthmatic patient comes, no people can listen to anything else. All other pain goes because breath is more important. And people started giving training for breathing without even understanding the Hatha Yoga Pradipika, which says Pranayamena Yuktena Sarvaroga Samaraha Ayuktabhyasa Yogena Sarvaroga Samudbhavaha. I don't know how many people learned this, but you teach breathing practices. If you do a wrong breathing, your all disease in your body will come out. Unwanted, undefined diseases will come. So who are you treating people? How are you understanding without even knowing the basic pulse of a person? How are you prescribing? How are you giving uniform? The word uniform is what is in those schools. Uniform is a wrong word because the parents are not same. Mother is not same, father is not same, culture is not same, food is not same, economic condition is not same. How can you have uniformity? Each individual needs a nurturing entirely different. You give same water to every plant, it will not grow in the same style. Something will get spoiled. So physical, emotional, intellectual, social and spiritual diagnosis, and then understand the connection between all of them to take care of them better. You must understand parents because there is a DNA which is programmed in me from my parents, and if I don't understand that, any medicine which I take will have a different reaction. So holistic doesn't mean only the child and his 5 elements, his parents, his tradition, his culture, the food pattern, everything has to be understood. I know this is not a time to give lecture. It's 5 minutes, finish the job and then go. That's what is mentioned. But I think I made my points very clear in this limited time. If there is an interaction or something has to come back, my number is there. Anybody could call me back and then get back. It's a topic to be understood very thoroughly for a long discussion. This is all what I have to open remarks which I have to tell. I planned to, when there was a discussion happened with Ranjini Roy, the syllabus was taken. I had old material written long years back on this subject. I'm a traditional person from Kerala with a lot of Ayurvedic background. Learned Himalayan tradition meditation in the, I don't call it as meditation, Samadhi from the Samadhi master. All that mixed together is what I had contributed as my knowledge which is documented. So it did not took me long time, but when the Manodarpan syllabus was shown, I thought I should make it into 2 different volumes. So because up to 7th grade, before teenage starts, probably parents have got more role. After teenage, it is more peer groups which has got role. Therefore, I keep saying teachers, parents and so-called the students, the TPS, that happens to be my name also. The teachers and parents and students have got a role to play in everybody's life. But when it comes to the teenage, it is peer group who are influencing more. So that has to be written in a different style. So I'm on that job. I've shared my book with the Mental Care India. I share whatever I have to the world. And I'm sure people can have questions and then some discussions. I'll be very glad. The context is clear.
I want to introduce and Dr. DrTPS written that book. I shared with you that book.
I've written and given to Ranjini Roy. Actually, content matters more than what is and who has produced it. This is about the life of students, where how do you nurture the minds. There are 2 things which are required. One has to be healthy and one has to be happy. So the nurturing minds means you should become healthy in attitude. So this is a guide for not to students, but for parents, teachers and the mentors, because they are the people who are guiding them. If the school can understand the the treasure trove which is available as guides, educators. I am sure the next generation will get a lot of benefits. So it has got a I believe I have got a concept of age 3 to grade 3, which is called Grandma Child Care Center, which is another book which released last week. This is on a handbook for how to run a school, and it is not, somebody was mentioning about the trauma of people telling that we are a patient. I am a psychotherapist. I never do this. I will do only group counseling. The people not even know that we are treating them. What is required is probably we should have age 3 to grade 3, where the social skill development happens in a style in which they grow with a beautiful environment. Grade 4 to grade 7. So that is how the chapter 2, the first is introduction. The chapter 2 I have got very specific for age 3 to grade 3. Chapter 3 is for grade 4 to grade 7. That is where the enhancement of growth is being described. And this is a handbook, probably it needs a real parents, teachers and students, educators, put them together as a clutter and then give them a training so that this handbook can be really implemented in schools. We need to tell them that this is what the philosophy in which it is developed. Otherwise you are with a Western reading and knowledge and blah blah blah. Somebody reads this, probably they will not be able to implement. Our new education policy talks about informal education. I am sure it is not going to get implemented unless a core team of people work for this. Therefore, whenever I visit to school, I spend 3-4 days together talking to teachers, parents, students, work together to realize that there is a philosophical change, at least in the younger age. And for elderly people, it is to understand the focus is on education so that the rest of the problems they will forget. There are no problems when you focus on something. When focus is lost, you have problems. So the second part of it in the book, what is the second part from grade 8 onwards, it is navigating the adolescence, the mental health of people from grade 8 to grade 12. Building a resilience, empowering the minds for the self-direction. Probably parents will have less or teachers will have less importance, but they have to blossom themselves. And the peer groups have got a lot of group activity in which they have to mix together to learn together. So navigating the adolescence is the next part which is going to be written very soon. So thank you. Thank you for the kindness, and I am so kind that this forum was ready to release it. I think Ranjini Roy has taken the initiative of getting it printed and distribute to every parent should have it first of all. Every educator should have it first of all. And the school should have, right? And if at all somebody is like a mentor or teacher, they should also have it. Because it's like a handbook. I think the answer should be from Ranjini Roy. Otherwise, generally all my books are on my website. It can be freely downloaded.
Okay, that's great, sir. Thank you so much.
But this book specifically has to have... Yeah.
We are really very enthusiastic to see your talk and your books, and we all educational fraternity across the country who we want to have physically present in our school. To be a mentor, after getting your book, definitely we will love to invite you to our school.
Before COVID, 360 days I was traveling 5 days at home. After COVID, I must have traveled in Northeast 2013 to 15, covering all the Vivekananda Kendra Vidyalaya. So I have crossed Calcutta. But I had no programs in Bengal except for financial matters like...
I request mental care, please have some talk with sir under our umbrella. So
Yeah.
his physical presence can have more meaningful with parents talk, with teachers talk, with students talk. So
Yes,
that
it's a great
he can
suggestion.
take
Yes.
this lead.
Sure, sure. It's a great suggestion. We would love to have sir. And actually now stage is open for the question and answer round. So if anyone wants to ask any question, please.
Sujit Kumar ji, there are more than 5,000 videos on my channel only, and maybe another 1,000 will be uploaded by many other people who host me many times.
Our psychotherapist is very much needed in the school. School now transformed after COVID like psychopathological lab. So your inputs will love to have. Really, I must.
Absolutely right, Dr. Jena.
To have one program with my school.
We should have group workshops for the adolescent students so that their focus will become just learning. That's what I generally do. And that is not a blah 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 general motivation. Physics, maths, chemistry, biology, each subject wise half 3 hours, 3 hours. Then they will excel perfectly well and they know where to go. That's what I do.
It's fine, wonderful, wonderful.
I don't have a question, but I want to love to purchase that books. Dr. Jena kindly send me the address where can I purchase that books, and you can give a couple of books which I can share to other people. Yes, please.
Really want it, and also not only book, with share like Zoom session or physical session in presence.
Last year, August 2022, 2022, August 20th, I was there in Calcutta, in one of those schools. Exactly 1 year. This is after 1 year I am online.
We have some 42 schools, so I'll make a plan with Mental Care India, so we can have at least first school mentors session.
Yes.
I am looking into it.
Welcome.
Okay, so I have a question. If a child with ADHD and the parent is not willing to accept that, as well as a child is threatened for the other child through his activities, so what should be the step from school side?
It's a very common problem all across the places. Wherever, same, parents won't admit. So if it is not very severe, it depends on the gravity in which the child is. If it is not very severe, probably some very specific activities can be given so that they will expose themselves slowly, and if it is from the childhood onwards. Otherwise, it becomes a problem. They need a very special care. I stay in Hyderabad. My compound wall share with NIMH, National Institute of Mentally Handicapped. Exactly, my compound wall is sharing with the National Institute of Mentally Handicapped. You have got great counseling programs happening there. Lot of people come there. The parents will come to understand the very reason for why they need a special care. So the parents needs to get educated. That's what the first thing which I wanted to tell you.
Okay, thank you for enlightening us. Another question I just want to ask you, sir, that the gratitude, if a child learns gratitude,
Yeah,
what will be the effect?
yeah, if Indian culture is entirely different from the Western culture. What we think we have to tell. See, for example, if I say thank you, thank you, thank you for every cup of water which somebody serves me, it looks like so I am making joke of somebody else. Right? So the problem is we copy from the West. We see the movie part and then try to put that into practice. Genuinely, the culture in which the religion, the region, whether it is a suburb or a village or a city, it matters. So there is no single answer for how do you show. In some culture, people may not even tell you thank you, but that is there inside them. They will show the gratitude in some way. I think Swami Vivekananda has a great answer for this. Understood? When somebody was gifting lot of money for Swami Vivekananda when he was in Chicago, he did not say thank you. It was unacceptable to the Western person who gives money as a donation and the receiver doesn't say thank you. So immediately they also questioned. They asked, why are you not saying thank you? So Vivekananda answered it back saying, it is you to thank me for receiving the money because I am not receiving for my personal purpose. I am going to spend it for a social cause. So along with the money, you are also giving me a job. Serving society with this money is another job which you are giving, which you are not able to do individually. So you give donation and finish it. So you tell me who is supposed to thank the other person. For receiving something, you will have to thank. We have got a system when we give food for all the ceremony, all the cultural programs in India. When we give food, we invite people to receive it. So whom should we thank? For taking my food, I have to thank them. So giving and taking from two different cultures is entirely different. Social service is a punishment in West. Social service is a commitment in India. So Bharatiya Shastram has to be understood. But we should teach both to children because they may go in a different place and then give a different style. So I remember when I went to Indiana, Columbus, very near to Chicago, I gave a speech on gratitude to the Western people in a church, quoting Swami Vivekananda like this. I suggest people to look at it. If you don't get, send me a WhatsApp, gratitude DrTPS, Columbus, Indiana. You will get that speech. I've taken a lot of time to make people to understand the Western people what gratitude means for Indians. I'm sure today's world, the modern world, people are more confused in the word of gratitude because we copy West. Otherwise, there is no confusion.
Himanshu, my question, sir.
Yeah, I got it. The basic reason is in India, we have this problem of changing. That is why I mentioned a single line saying that NEP is not going to get implemented. Parents are reluctant. Parents will not accept a thing very fast. So it's only school owners who can make a difference and have that courage. I keep asking teachers, I keep asking educators, I keep asking school management, do you have the courage to implement a new system? Same problem was there in 1970. If you look at de-schooling, unschooling, de-schooling documentaries from America, you can see a lot of people were reluctant to stop schooling in the framework of schools. But it took long years. It's almost 50 years. Even now you will see only a small scale of people wanted to run homeschooling. In some country it is not even permitted. In India it cannot be implemented. So unless the parents are educated, maybe another 20 years when the parents are educated, the reason for BTech, MBA programs in the university level, I was academic staff college director in the university grants commission. So when we give new system education, highest professional degree to most of the people in Andhra, Telangana and all, it's free for ladies. MBA is free, BTech is free. And that is given because the parents of next generation will be at least masters in business, professional graduates, so that their children will get a better education. So it needs another 20 years for the thought process to change. So today, as my sister Patnadatta is asking, it's not that easy to give an idea. I remember when I wrote a book on e-learning and web learning, The book is 17 to 18 years old. But just because Professor COVID came into picture, we started using webinar. This book is to tell teachers you have to be online. Teachers. But it took 17 years. And 17 years also it happened because of a pandemic. So system will not change. Teachers will never change. Parents will never change. School system will not change unless there are few people who are courage enough to implement it. I am sure that will happen, and that is my prayer. We all have to work together to make it, and it will happen. That is why I said when we go, we have to educate teachers, educate parents. Otherwise, students will go and tell something, parents will say, no, it will not work. That's why we want parents to have lot of questions after the addressing students and teachers. This is what we do. I am hopeful. Traditionally, the oldest psychological book in the world is called Yoga Vasishta, and that's part of Ramayana, and that is the book which was used by Vasishta to treat Rama. When Rama was in adolescence, he was not listening to his father. So generally, when students pass teenage and reach adolescence, they will not obey their parents. Same problem was there with Rama. Suffered Dasharatha. So Dasharatha took him to the psychotherapist. The first psychotherapist in the world is Dr. Vasishta. Yoga Vasishta is written as a textbook of psychology. So in which there is only one brightest sloka which says Purne Manasi Sampurnam Jagat Sarvam Sudadravaihi Upana Gudapadasya Nanu Charmas Trudaiva Buvuhu. The whole world, wherever I am walking, I cannot have leather carpet. Is it true? Is it possible to have leather carpet wherever I walk?
No, you're right.
Yes, it is possible. Only thing, you will have to wear a leather footwear.
Okay, I got it.
So, wherever you want to see happiness, you carry happiness around you. That was the great message of Vasishta in the total Yoga Vasishta textbook. Mental happiness is the attitude set, and that has to happen from childhood onwards. So the whole world will become in that mood. It is not physical phenomena which gives you happiness. It is an inner happiness which is to be developed. So we have mistaken most of the traditional knowledge by bypassing the real learning process. That is why we quote and then give us tablets without understanding the basics. So we have a great saying, a half doctor will kill the patient. So many people give solutions without even knowing the biochemistry. They don't understand the pharmacology. They don't understand the yoga. They don't understand. Only yogasana they know, and they say, I know yoga, I am a yogacharya. They don't understand yama, niyama, asana, pranayama, pratyahara, dharana, dhyana, samadhi. So it needs to be understood from the core. That is what is missing. Okay. Namaste. Thank you and pranams.